Lindsay's fallout, off the cuff vlog at the airport while I wait for my tea to cool off. I live in Portland, Oregon, so I'm going to Wasteland Jamboree and I am gonna have to spend all night flying across the country. And this is very stressful because I have sleeping medication because I have hard enough time sleeping in my own bed. But I have to sleep on this flight, these flights, because I'm switching flights, and I'm gonna have a really bad time this weekend if I don't fall asleep, so there's that. Autistic fam, have any of you ever done a sensory room at the airport before? Because my life is forever changed. I was already exhausted when I first got here. I was already exhausted leaving my house with my suitcase, and I was like, how am I gonna survive tonight? And I got in that sensory room and I curled up in the fetal position on a beanbag chair in there, and I recharged like an electronic device. I felt like I slept. Like, not like I felt like I fell asleep, but like, you know how you feel after you've gotten some sleep? That's how I felt just being in there. And you know, people ask me sometimes, like, what's the point of getting an autism diagnosis if there's no medication or no treatment for it? Because if you don't know you're autistic, you might have no idea that you need a room like that. Because when you're autistic and you are overwhelmed and edgy because of the lights and sounds and stuff, your brain doesn't tell you, hey, the reason you're edgy is because of the lights and the sounds. You don't know that that's why. It's like how Dorothy would have never known to tap her heels together 3 times to leave Oz, you know? If you're not told you're autistic, that autistic people have sensory needs, and you'll spend your whole life trying to figure out why you're so edgy, why you're so irritable, why this and why that, and the thought might never cross your mind to go, oh, maybe it's because my house has too much white furniture and it's too bright in here. Autistic tangent aside, let's talk about the video that I put up today, which normally I would talk about this kind of stuff during stream, but since I'm not doing a stream this week, we're gonna do it here at the airport. Because I think I figured something out. That I talked about in the video, and then something in the video helped me figure it out, and that is like this little mini awakening that I'm trying to figure out with my content, and how it just felt like I was on the edge of you know, making a big change or doing something, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But that video, watching it after I posted it, I was like, oh my god, there it is, that's the answer, that's the thing. I talked about how, like, when you hit a certain level of awareness of the construction that you're in, how you kind of feel evil because you kind of start looking down on people who don't see the construction that you're in, or even worse, people who think that they see the construction that they're in, but they, you know, it's like people who say people are idiots and don't recognize that they are also a people and that they're also idiots. Like, they'll see that, you know, everybody else is just scrolling on their phone and doing the capitalism, but then they're also clearly, their nervous systems are very clearly fused to their relationship with their jobs and their attachments and everything. So it's like, like when Lucy asks Maximus about, you know, since the bombs dropped, and he was like, the bombs dropped when I was a kid, and she's like, is that what they taught you in your brotherhood? But she's actually just making a mistake because he's talking about the Shady Sands bombs, but she doesn't recognize that she has new things to learn because she thinks she already knows better. That's kind of what I mean. And I'm so afraid of being like that, of taking an attitude that I know more than other people. I want to stay agile, I want to stay humble, because every time I hit the wall and my consciousness expands, I learn how dumb I was yesterday, and I don't ever want to, you know, get settled in this feeling like, because it's easier to recognize people who are dumber than you than it is to recognize people who are smarter than you, really. Because when you see something that is beyond your understanding, it just looks blank, because you don't understand what you're looking at yet. So what I'm realizing is, like, the old paradigm, the old framework that my head was stuck in, was this idea that this channel could only be one of 2 things. It could either be personal, like a hobby, like friendship level thing, or it is a professional thing. It is a business thing. It's a thing that I'm doing to make money. And if it is a personal thing, then I have to treat people in the comments on my stream like 100% equals, you know, not be preachy, not talk down to people. I kind of have a phobia of being narcissistic, you know, and, you know, things like it is tyrannical for me to block people or, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's a, you know, I can't put myself in any sort of above position and expect to have any, you know, basically treat it like a shared space, because if I don't treat it like a shared space and it's personal, then I'm overpowering people unjustly, and that makes my autism freak out. And then option 2 is that it's a job, it's professional, and so I was trying to push it that direction because I knew that the personal direction, I needed to set better boundaries than that, or that I wouldn't be able to do this. Basically, like, the idea was, I have to treat everybody as equals unless I am, like I said at the end of the video, providing value, you know, unless I am a professional and it's a job, then I won't feel bad for blocking people, etc., etc., because, of course, I would do that. It would be terrible for my mental health for me not to do that. And what the episode sort of made me realize was I gotta be in the middle. This isn't a personal thing, nor is it a professional thing. This is too niche. What I'm doing is way too niche to expect the ad revenue to sustain me in any meaningful way. Like, I definitely want to have ads on it because I can't say no to anything that that the construct says can net me revenue. I'm certainly not going to bring advertising to attract attention to the platform and not get any piece of the pie. That's exploitation. I'm not going to be exploited. And what I had to kind of get to in my head to sort of give myself permission to be in this middle zone, which I'm going to call, it's not personal, it's not professional, it's social. I'm meeting social needs by doing this, but they aren't necessarily personal needs. Like, for example, let's say I was meeting a personal need at, like, a dinner party with family or something. If I were to go off on the topic of today's video at a dinner table with company, that would be obnoxious. Like, I know that autistic people, you know, we're always trying to say that, like, no, you're not too much. Well, if you're taking up more space than everybody else in a social setting, then too much is actually an appropriate word for what you're being. It's that you're not too much for the world. You just have to find the place in the world that is right for you. And I have a need to have there be a space where I can info dump my special interest in a way that is welcome, and YouTube is a natural place to do that. And it is okay for me to have my little corner of the platform, or for me to block whatever commenters I want, set the boundaries that I want, to have my dinosaur, to preach from my dinosaur, and people who want to watch it are going to want to watch it, and people who don't want to watch it can go away. And because I can't do it professionally, because it just doesn't have, what I do just doesn't have enough value in the market to make a lot of money, and I can't do it on a personal level because my interpersonal friendship relationships, we have to share enough space that my sentences can't be that long. But this brain and this body wants to monologue. And this is a space where people are down to listen to me do that, and I have the right to set boundaries and define the space as I see fit. Which might sound like, come on, Lindsay, like you really just now figured out. I really had to get centered about what need I'm trying to meet with this channel, and whether it's okay, and whether or not I'm crossing any moral lines that I don't want to cross by meeting that need in this way, you know? I'm figuring out a lot of stuff way later in life than I wish I had. And I think that this channel is a good playground for me to experiment with things that I might do in a more professional capacity later on. And this totally feeds into what I said during the community section at the end, when I was like, I'm kind of craving more social interaction, more things like the icebreaker questions, because this is a social thing that I'm a social need that I'm trying to meet here. And later, if I start doing more stuff like comedy and things like that, I might not feel the need to look at comments at all because I'm just going to want to talk about Fallout. And the one last thing that I really wanted to talk about is the reception of the video that I posted today. The numbers seem to be, pretty normal, but I'm getting a lot more affirming comments. A lot more people, even people who wouldn't normally comment, are feeling the need to be like, I really liked this, which is great because, like I said in the video, I was a little bit more self-conscious than normal this time because I was talking in abstractions, and also I am very, very self-conscious about not talking about Fallout enough. It's a Fallout channel, and so when I go on these tangents about other movies and other shows or things from real life, I feel like I'm not providing value for my audience who's coming to hear me talk about Fallout. But given how positively people are responding to the video, I might just be worried about nothing, because I think I seem to shine the most when Fallout reminds me of other things. Fallout is always the origin point of whatever I'm talking about, but then I talk about what that Fallout thing reminded me of, and that's still on brand. And I think that it's almost like Fallout is the secret club that we're all in, that's that central point of focus that we all have in common. And then I branch from there outward, because, this is, a lot of autistic people don't like the term special interest because it's kind of pathologizing of interests, or at least it has been. But I think it's totally fair to say that what we call an autistic special interest functions differently than interests do for neurotypicals, in the sense that it's like this portal. We analyze the world through this special interest, and then we engage the world, and it's like this tunnel that meaning goes through, this monotropic interest tunnel. And so on this channel, I talk about Fallout, and that reminds me of the world. And then when I'm out in the world, I always want to talk about Fallout, because it kind of everything reminds me of Fallout. And so it seems really healthy, and it seems like the audience is enjoying me continuing to do that, to just squeeze all of life through this Fallout tunnel. And maybe I shouldn't run away from that. Maybe that's just what I do. So this is the first time using this video recorder on my phone, so I'm also kind of testing this because I want to use this method at Wasteland Jamboree. And so I hope that you enjoyed my first ever on-the-fly, vertical, vloggy, whatever this is. This was an experiment, and thanks for listening.